the recent conviction of 5 men for plotting to bomb targets in London and the South East, including a nightclub, a shopping centre and power stations, marked a significant victory in the campaign against terrorism. And yet, disturbing details emerged at the end of that trial of how the men who carried out the tube bombings that killed 52 people had been under surveillance and yet slipped through the net. I asked intelligence expert Dr. Rob Johnson to give his reaction to that revelation and to explain what the implications of it are.
It seemed as if MI5 had information, had been so-called watching these people, had failed to act, and as a result, Mohammed Sadiq Khan and Shahad Tanweer had detonated their bombs on 7/7 in London, killing 50-odd people. Now, the problem with this particular thesis is that it takes no consideration at all of the kind of environment in which the security services, particularly MI5, are operating. There is, first of all, no complete picture of who these people are and exactly what they're involved in. MI5's assessment was they saw these people meeting on 4 occasions with the sort of Omar Khayyam and his ringleader, who was a ringleader of a group of 4 plotters against the sort of Blue Water shopping centre and so on. There was some discussion, even of a matter of what's thought to be terrorism and surfing the internet and so on for terrorist kind of information. The environment really was that these people were peripheral players. They may have been involved in little more than gathering finance, perhaps providing transport, perhaps communications. And MI5 claim, and I think quite rightly, they simply don't have the resources to be able to watch everyone. They wanted to go for the big fish, the people that really mattered. In this case, the Blue Water shopping centre bombers or plotters. Now, of course, it does look, doesn't it? In the benefit of hindsight, we can turn around and say, well, why didn't they then follow it up? It is simply a question of resources.
Of course, the authorities are treading a very fine line all the time, aren't they? What to tell us and when.
The problem the security services face is if you go too early and you go and arrest, if you like, people that you suspect of some peripheral or small involvement in terrorism, the risk is that the bigger fish, if you like, the leadership or maybe people more embedded within the structure of a terrorist organisation, will be alerted, will go to ground and will lose all the information we could get. The critical thing, of course, is the timing. If you leave it too late, well, we saw what happened with 7/7. Perhaps they should have picked up these people a little earlier. But that's easy to say with hindsight. At the time, people were making a decision about what involvement Mohammed Sadiq Khan and Shahad Tanweer had with the terrorist organisation. They were trying to work out what level of organisation, what level of participation, if you like, they had. Very difficult to do.
It seems we are to have a new Home Secretary. What advice would you give to him about handling the terrorist threat?
Very difficult for an academic to give advice to a Minister of State when they are, of course, parted lots of information which I do not have. But I think history has indicated on several occasions, either with the IRA campaign, with the case of, if you like, communist espionage in the sort of Cold War years, and now with international terrorism, that you have to be absolutely clear about both the nature and capability of your opponents. You have to be very clear about what their intentions are and to tackle it perhaps at that level. I think taking the public into confidence to the degree you can is going to be very important. And finally, and no less important, is reassurance. Ministers of State are leaders. They have a responsibility to, I think, to reassure the public that what measures are being taken, not just say measures aren't, we're doing all we can, but to say specifically what it is that the government is doing and is going to do that is going to tackle this particular problem. And I don't think always we've been well served by that information.